nobody messed with you too hard for picking against Texas, even when it was those Aggies. Zach, we'll give you the first word tonight. Talk to us about this series a little bit. What stood out to you?
Man, you just it starts with the pitching up front. Ruger, he stepped up in a way that you'd seen it on Sundays, you'd seen it throughout the season, but it's a little different when it's a rivalry game. You've got 7,000 plus people in the stands. There's a little extra fuel to the fire just because of the history, because of the coaching situation. But yeah, I mean, Ruger really set the tone, and he held it in there for 6 innings, and um, every single game was a one-run game, and that speaks to how fine the margins are. Talking to Schlossnagel, I said, "Look, I don't typically watch SportsCenter, but if I did, I'd probably see about 8 highlights from that Sunday game in the outfield alone. I mean, it was just like one guy's doing a Superman over here, the other guy's slamming into the fence over here, guys doing tumbles after making I mean, it was just insane the amount of web gyms that were happening.
Yeah,
And that
all
doesn't,
three of the A&M outfielders made just absolutely amazing plays
yeah,
during that game on Sunday. And Tommy Farmer had a couple in right field for the Longhorns. We saw A-Rod's big
A-Rod.
play.
Yeah.
Yeah, the outfield play was absolutely. I mean, and even that little ball that kept drifting away from A&M's right fielder towards the foul pole, he ran that thing down. That was a really good play.
And
I
he
was
came
really
in
impressed with
with a
that. I
hurt
was pissed off
hamstring.
about it, but I was
Yeah.
impressed with it.
Yeah, and Sorrell came in with a hurt hamstring. I mean, it's just
Right.
super impressive. But then you look at the defense on the infield, that play that Kimball made on that bunt where he was able to throw to third base and get the lead runner. That could have been the ball game right there. I mean, that
Mm-hmm.
or sent it to extra innings, right? Like, it's the amount of defensive heads up play this weekend was just incredible. But yeah, Texas pitching, t- hap tit to Max Wiener. I mean, the guy continues to just be a guru and a magician in what he's gotten out of these guys. And then, the bats. One day it was Tommy Farmer, then it was Ethan Mendoza, then it was A-Rod. I mean, it's a different guy coming up at different times, and it speaks to the mentality, right? Like, these guys, they're just not phased. It's insane that they're this good at this point in the season based on what we knew coming into the season. I mean, it's not normal. And in fact, today on the show with Schlossnagel, he's even said, he's like, "Listen, after the game, we sat in the room for like an hour, still dressed out." He goes, "We talked about it for like an hour." He goes, this is not normal." So that should tell you something, right? I mean, that tells you, even when the coaches are like, "Hey, we keep winning. We don't know why or how, but we keep winning." So yeah,
Yeah, I think 3 teams since 2013, 2014 have started 19-2 in SEC play, something like
since
that.
since 1996,
Okay,
when the
since
conference moved to 30
1996.
games, 3 teams have done it now. Vanderbilt in 2013, and then Tennessee in 2022, and now Texas. That Vandy team only lost 3 games in conference. Now, they had a rained out game at the very end, so they only played 29 games, but
And they
they
only played 2 ranked teams, if I recall correctly, too. Although
yeah,
the teams they played were probably ranked at different times during the season, but at the time they played
yeah,
them, they only played 2 ranked teams.
yeah. And then
So
Tennessee in 2022, that was just a monster club, and they went 25-5. So yeah,
yeah, we're
and
talking Texas A&M. We're talking Zach eating a little crow, not a lot of crow. You got the crow flavored seeds right now. Is that what you're chomping on?
baby, dill pickle. That's where it's at, baby. Come on now.
Dill pickle, man. I feel like getting you those dill pickle seeds has made all the difference in this series. But like shout out to Hardball Harge for making that possible. Uh, Mark, the vibe in left field was great. I was out there all 3 days before the game. I came out there after the game on Saturday. Man, I thought it was better than the LSU series. I thought that it was pretty wall to wall. Friday night we had that big storm kind of blow through really quick, tons of rain. Nobody left. Everybody is crammed up underneath tents, just waiting for it to subside so we can get the business of the night going. Talk to us about how that felt? Rank that with some of the. I mean, you've been out there for 15 years, Mark. How did that go down? Ranked up against some of the other big time atmospheres out in left field.
I gotta say, I think pretty easily it was probably the biggest regular season weekend in recent memory. I mean, that, you say it a lot when you talk about SEC baseball, but it really was a super regional environment. Just fantastic weather for the most part, other than the beginning of Friday's game. Just quality baseball. The fans were great. Everybody was out there every day, packed house, charged up environment. It was really fun seeing ex-Texas players and famous Texas exes making the trip back to Austin. Obviously Brooks Kieschnick was there for the activities on Saturday. He came out again Sunday. I had a lot of old guys there, man. Zach Zubia, Kirk Dressendorfer, a bunch of old guys were making the rounds. So it was just fantastic. You can probably hear it in my voice. I'm absolutely exhausted. Like that weekend took 7 days worth of energy out of me. And man, just hat tip to both of the teams. That was just such a competitive series. Uh, you had to really lock in as a fan the entire game, all 3 days. It was very high quality baseball. I mentioned on Twitter, yesterday after the series concluded that I really feel like A&M has, played us about as tough as any team has this season. Obviously, LSU took a game from us, Friday night game, but felt like Saturday and Sunday, Texas kind of got the best of them, and there was a little bit of separation in some of those games. But man, that A&M team, they can play, and just respect to Texas, man, for getting the job done, hanging in there. Like Zach said, man, on Sunday especially, you were just waiting for Texas to make their move, right? They were down the majority of that game, and you could just tell that there's like a sense of calm in this baseball team. I think they know somebody's going to step up, somebody's going to do something big. They don't press, they don't panic, and you can kind of feel that confidence from the fans as well, right? The fans just kind of get more and more into the game as it goes on Sunday, and for us to rally back a couple times and then get that go ahead home run was just fantastic. So couldn't be more proud of the team. Congratulations to them for the sweep.
Yeah, you mentioned the super regional vibe of that whole weekend, and I thought, to me it felt a lot like being in Omaha. It kind of felt like, the Sunday game felt like an elimination type of a game, from the Aggie perspective, and you saw it on their faces when that game was over. They were just completely dejected. Like that was the end of their season, is what I mean. If you didn't know any of the context and you just played the last pitch of that game and saw that double play, you would have said you could say that was an elimination game of some sort. That was the emotion of the whole thing. I thought the crowd Friday night, Saturday, just absolutely amazing. Sunday, you could tell people were getting tired. You could tell, that it was going to take some stuff to kind of have to happen for the crowd to really, really get back to that level. And they did. And man, yeah, I thought it was a blast. Really good time. My voice is pretty tore up as well, so I apologize if I'm, you know, don't sound as awesome as I usually do out there, but but yeah, man, it was a great time, and you spoke about just the resiliency of this team. We keep talking about that over and over and over. Zach, you said it. It was a different guy. I had that in my notes as well. It was a different guy all three games. The only person that had an RBI in multiple games in this series was Ethan Mendoza. Everybody else was a new guy every day. Tommy Farmer hits his first home run in his career as a Texas Longhorn. That one couldn't have came at any better time. I mean, you almost can't write a script for like a guy like Tommy Farmer any better than that. Hey man, it's a 1-0 game. We're getting late in the game. Fastball gone. I mean, to make it to, and that's huge insurance in a game like that when the pitching is so tight. You guys mentioned the A&M team and them coming in and just really putting up a big fight. I agree 100%, man. They were tough. They were swing for swing. And Zach, you mentioned the margins. I heard Sloss talking about that this morning as well. It's really just about who moves on from things better, I think. And we talked a little bit last week as we were talking about this series about, you know, does some of this baggage, you know, that these A&M players have, you know, can you carry that type of emotional energy for 3 games? And I thought they actually did a pretty good job of doing it, but man, Texas was just stoic and just completely, we don't care. I don't care that you just came in and hit a home run to take the lead after we tied the game. I don't care. Like we're gonna go do stuff and we're gonna go make plays, and that's exactly what they did. Uh, just to man, this team is, they are the funnest team I think I've ever seen, like in any sport. Just the way they continue to find ways to score runs, get people out. How many times do you see a 3-6-1 double play? And I think we've seen 2 in the last few weekends or last few weeks out of this Texas team. We saw Ruger Riojas be a part of a double play, I believe. I might be wrong on this one, but I feel like he made a really good defensive play on Friday night. Maybe he started a double play.
Yeah.
You guys mentioned the bunt that A&M tried to lay down, and Schuessler said, "No, we're going to get you at third." And they've done that 3 times, I feel like, in the
Yeah.
last 3 or 4 weeks. So, man, just it's like it's got to be suffocating to try to play this team, because it almost doesn't. You do the right things, and they still figure out a way to get you out and shut down anything you're trying to do. It's rough. Um, what do you think, Marc and Zach, about, you know, I kind of posed the question, did Aggie just get hot these last few weeks before they came to Austin, or were we starting to see the potential? Do you think they were just hot? Do you still think the potential's there? Like, they've got to go. Who are they playing this weekend? They're playing LSU.
They host
LSU.
LSU. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
do we expect those bats to pop off again, or do we think what are we thinking there?
I think A&M is a really solid team. I kind of think the opposite. I wonder how they started the season so slow. I know they did have some injuries, right? But now you can see it, with Texas as an example, that the good teams will find a way to work themselves around some of the injuries that they do get. And I think A&M lost a lot of games early that nobody was really expecting. And I think you're seeing the quality baseball from A&M now that I think will continue through the rest of the season, right? So time will tell of it. If they started to turn it on a little bit too late. They do have some tough games ahead of them. I'm really interested to see how they bounce back against LSU, right? And I think if they have a bad weekend at home against LSU, they could be in trouble if they drop that series. But if you look at the opposite, if they're able to win that series, right, then they're right back in it. And tell you, they're a scary club. So I think they're going to
Yeah,
compete the
I don't
rest
want
of
to
the
play
way.
them
I
again. I
expect them to
guarantee you
make the
that.
postseason.
They're a team I don't want to play again, because all 3 of those games, 1-run games, one swing. You take a swing away
Yeah,
from Texas, you add a swing to Texas A&M, and that series could have been completely different.
I think the biggest thing for me was they kind of put together their best performance in one weekend, right? Like they looked good against Arkansas. They had looked good against Tennessee and getting those wins. And obviously South Carolina, who's just not a very good team, but it was really the offense that carried them. Against Texas, they put together the complete package, right? Prager went deep and he was locating, which he hasn't done in SEC play. Lampkin was just dominating the zone with that fastball and slider mix. And then Miles Patton was really, really good still. What if anything, I think the crack that finally showed this weekend against Texas that hasn't necessarily showed the past couple weekends for A&M was their bullpen, right? Their bullpen early on was not very good. But this weekend, it kind of came back to bite them again. Like their guys just really couldn't handle those high leverage situations where in the past couple weeks they have. And so I think that honestly that was for me was the big turning point. It was Texas waiting it out, grinding it out, getting into that bullpen, and then again just taking that same approach where they're going to grind you down as a reliever, where you don't necessarily have that same mentality when you're a reliever. You want to go in, get in, and get the hell out, right? You don't want to drag it out. And by Texas dragging those long at bats, it really starts to drag because then you're guessing yourself. You're like, man, what do I throw next? And it makes it a lot tougher. And so to me, that was the big turning point, was when Texas was able to get the bullpen and they weren't swinging at the stuff that normally guys would swing at just because they've got such good plate discipline. It's like, okay, yeah, it's a matter of time now. They're going to get a guy on, they're going to move him over. And, um, Sloss talked about it today, but I think just some really high IQ baseball plays as well in terms of how they ran the bases. That play by Jalen, a lot of times you don't go home on
Yeah.
that play. Like the ball got away, but not far. I mean,
Right.
it was damn close. And so it's just really high IQ baseball running, and then defense obviously was really solid. They only committed one error across the entire weekend. So
Yeah, you talk about that Aggie bullpen, and Sunday for sure. They bring in their guy. He's the guy we talked about last week. I believe Weston. I believe is his name.
Weston
Western
Moss,
Moss.
yeah.
Yeah, Weston Moss. Really great pitcher. Just did not have it on Sunday. And matter of fact, he didn't really have it on Friday night either. I think it was Friday he came in and pitched originally. But yeah, 2 outs and he walks the bases loaded, and then Rylan Galvan comes up with the big hit. He was one of those guys that didn't have a great weekend, but found a way at some point during the series to put his mark on it, put his stamp on it. They, going back to this Aggie offense, though, we talked about they were scoring almost 11 runs per game over the last 8 SEC games. They had 8 runs total. They hit 227 on the weekend. Here's the big one. Jace Laviolette, 1 for 9 on the weekend. The bullpen for Texas only gave up 3 runs all weekend. And this one is staggering to me. I did not realize it while I was there. Texas pitching stranded 27 A&M base runners over the weekend. So just like I said kind of earlier, you get on base, you get the leadoff guy on, and then you just cannot get him around. You just can't make something happen. Texas finds a way to get outs, make pitches, make good defensive plays. Just really sort of a smothering team. And I heard Sloss kind of talking about it. You guys were talking about team. And I thought something that was pretty interesting that he said this morning when you were interviewing him, Zach. He kept saying, they may not be the best team. And I think that's an interesting comment, because I think that's the type of stuff that makes you the best team. I think what he was alluding to, and what he probably meant to say, was we may not be the most talented team. You look at us up and down the lineup, we may not be the lineup that you would pick if you had the choice. But as a team, I don't think there's a better team in baseball right now than the Texas Longhorns. And I'm talking about, like, they just play for each other. They have each other's backs. Everybody's digging in, trying to figure out what they can do to help the team win. I'll play left field, coach. I'll play second base tomorrow. Oh, you need me to DH? I'll do that, coach. I don't think you're seeing that in any other teams. And so I know what y'all were trying to say, and I'm not trying to be critical of the words, but I think words are important. And I think the team for this Texas Longhorn team is if it's not the best, show me the best team. Show me the best group of guys that have come together this year and done anything remotely close to this.
Yeah. I mean, he's right. Like they're not the most talented team. Like they're not going to put up the same statistical numbers as other teams. Although pitching wise, like they're number 2 in the nation in ERA, so obviously they are doing that. But yeah, it's interesting because a lot of these guys weren't picked high up on the preseason list. They're not as high up on the MLB draft list and all that. But I thought it was really interesting because he said, like, these guys they're desperate to win, right? Like
Yes,
these guys
that was the
want
term,
to
yeah.
win so badly that it's at their core. And these guys have bled. They've put in the work. They've grinded through not bad, and it's not like they had bad years, right? Like they were semi-successful in most parlance of college baseball, but um they want that next step, right? And this coaching staff has been able to put that mentality in their head that, like, it doesn't matter if you're not the most talented guy or if you have an off night. It's no big deal. Like, you've got a guy next to you that's going to pick it up, right? Doesn't matter if he's a freshman, doesn't matter if he's a senior. Hell, Andre Duplantier is now 8th all time in appearances for Texas. right? Like that's insane. Like a guy like Andre Duplantier who missed a significant chunk of time just due to injury. But he came back for a 6th year because he's like, hey, you're not going to find a better group of guys, a better place to be. He's like, what else would I be doing? Right? Like, I'm having fun. This is what I'm here for.
Right.
And so yeah, it's definitely, people ask, because I'll get messages occasionally from folks, and they're like, what is it with this team? How do they keep winning? It's mentality, man. That's all it boils down to. Like they want it more than the other guy. So yeah, it's been interesting to watch for sure.
Yeah, we're talking Texas baseball. We're talking a little bit about this series, but mostly just this Texas team at this point in the show. Mark, you've been around a lot of this. I know you've been to a lot of high sort of leverage situations with this Texas team. Is this the best? Is this the? This is going to sound crazy. Let's maybe throw out Omaha. Let's just talk like regular season, maybe regionals type games. Is this like the most clutch, best, like gritty team we've seen up to that point?
I really think it is from 1 to 9. I can't remember another team, and I think I talked about this a couple weeks ago, right? We've had some weekends in SEC play where our top guys were pretty bad, at the plate and didn't do a whole lot, and we found a way around it, right? I think in recent memory, we all know that there's been games in the past handful of years where if Cody Clemens doesn't give you 3 hits, Texas is going to score 1 run and lose the game, right? If Melendez doesn't hit a ball out of the park, Texas is going to lose a 3-2 game to somebody, right? And it's like if the big guy's not swinging, and if he doesn't show up for a series, you're in trouble. You mentioned it earlier, man. I mean, it's literally a different guy every game. Uh, I want to give a shout out to Gumbo. Duplantier had a
Yeah.
huge hit on Friday, and I was very happy to see him kind of have some success over the weekend. But he stepped up. You see A Rod come back from injury and struggle a lot at the plate, and then he had a big weekend with 5 hits or something like that. 3 of them yesterday. Uh, so it just gives you a lot of confidence when you know that it doesn't have to come from the same 2 or 3 guys every game. And I think we're at the point now, right, where a couple weeks ago I was worried about the bottom half of our lineup, and I didn't have a lot of confidence in those guys. But now you get to that bottom half, and you feel like somebody like Farmer is gonna get a big hit and do something big, right? And Duplantier is gonna draw a walk, get on base, and cause some trouble on the base pass. So
Mhm.
again, I just think from 1 to 9, man, it's that attitude that they just come to the park every day knowing that they're going to win. Schlossnagel, I heard him say that to you this morning, Zach, about how they want to win every time they come to the stadium and they expect to win, and you can just kind of see that in their demeanor. So again, it's just been fantastic to watch. It's so exciting as a fan, and you just kind of really fall in love with a team like that never gives up, and everybody's kind of got their teammates back. And I think you saw the pitching staff even exude that this weekend, where you have a tough outing on Sunday, right, where Jason Flores doesn't make it out of the second inning. And if you would have told me going into Sunday's game that Flores was going to go 1 inning uh, and come out of the game, I would have said, yeah, we're probably not going to win that game. I'm
Right.
not sure if we're going to have enough pitching to put together 9 innings. But then Duplantier comes in, saves the day, pitches his ass off, and gives us a chance to win that game. So it's always somebody.
Yeah. What
And
about a guy like he's really come on here lately, but what about a guy like Thomas Burns coming in game 2 and
Wow.
just
Yeah.
absolutely gassing it up? I mean, just throwing the ball right by these guys. 98, 99. That's that's just big time stuff to me. And I know these guys ramped up. I know when he came in, he's like a bulldog. We've talked about Wiener being like this bulldog mentality. Like, I don't think there's a pitcher on this roster that's more bulldogish than Thomas Burns. He's to me, he's like a football player that's playing baseball, and he just wants to go like mow people down. And he probably could.
I
He's a
wouldn't
big,
want to get in the box
yeah,
against
that's a
him,
big
man.
ass dude.
That's a big dude.
Yeah. So yeah, he just comes out there and is just ripping off 98, 99. And then you look at a guy like, Grayson Saunier that comes in on Sunday, ends up getting his first win of the season. he finds a way to pitch around 3 hits in 1 1/3, had a walk, had a K. He comes in and does his job. And so it's just like, I don't know, man. I mean, as a fan, you sit there and watch this sometimes and you go, like, like kind of going back to that Texas State game from Tuesday night last week. When that kid hit that grand slam, you're just kind of like, well, probably not coming back from that one. And then they just find a way to come back from that one. And it's just like we've said a million times, it's a different guys every time. So I'm really excited about a lot of these newer guys out of the bullpen, which we're going to need because obviously, Jared Spencer not going to play the rest of the season. And so we hope the best for him as he does his surgery and all that stuff. But we're going to need other guys to step up. And we've been kind of building a little bit of depth over the last few weeks. And it's starting to pay off. And these guys are coming in these high leverage situations and they're making pitches. So yeah, this team pretty phenomenal. I will remember this one for a long time. Another thing, one error all weekend, and it was on that pop fly that went 9,453 feet in the air, and just kind of got blown around with the wind. And I mean, it sucked, but if that's the worst thing that happens to you over a 3-game stretch, that's pretty good stuff right there.